Well, it's a little bit of a late start here, but we are not wasting any time getting into the thick of things. Welcome, everyone, to the CSL League of Legends regular season. My name is Tasty Bacon, filling in tonight, and along with me is the one, the only Rapidcasts.
Yeah, it's good to be back, and I think we were talking about a little bit earlier, Bacon of the tastiness. It has been about almost 3 years since the last time we cast, so we're getting the family back together again, and coming to you guys with today's ULoL Campus Series broadcast between a college that is very near and dear to my heart. That's UT Dallas. It's this college I went to, taking on Duke University, a college that I've never been to, but that I've seen very many times before.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, as you can all see, we are already in the middle of the draft for game number 1 of this best of 3. First game is going to feature Duke on the blue side with UT Dallas on the red. The bans have already gone through. We're actually even halfway through the picks already, and so this should be a pretty interesting matchup. It's a very short season in terms of this division. This division of the ULoL Campus Series only has 5 teams in it, so every single matchup is extremely important.
So let's go ahead and break down some of these rosters, Tasty Bacon, champion rosters, that is. Pretty much every champion band that you would expect, with the exception of the very first picks on both sides, which are going to be very key. So Malzahar, pretty much the strongest support right now. Kha'Zix and Rengar usually banned because aggressive assassin jungler is very strong. So really cool to see those make it through the draft, or the ban phase, into the draft. And we're going to have most likely a Ryze versus Cassiopeia matchup. So that'll be some of the best champions for those mid lane players, and so that should be really exciting to watch there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, of course, you also got to pay attention to the jungle. The jungle still has such a massive impact on the game. Kha'Zix and Rengar going to be the 2 picks here. I mean, it's the old classic battle of the Kha'Zix and Rengar hunting each other down.
Yep, got that quest going on. We'll see if it is going to be fulfilled at the end of the game, or at least when they hit level 16. But we're about to finish that champion select. Sorry, I was trying to remember if Poppy was going to be having a chance to go up against Caitlyn in the top lane. You say, but Rapid, that would not make any sense. Well, yesterday we had top lane 80 carries being played. We had like top lane Ashe. It was a crazy day, Tasty Bacon. But today, I guess it wasn't actually yesterday, but today we're going to have the last pick, the counter pick for the guys on UTD, saved for that top lane, which is actually really cool because most of the time we see the top lane pick picked earlier on and then mid lane used as a counter pick. So at least for right now, it's gonna be cool to see what they have in store for Poppy.
Well, that's assuming that they don't go ahead and throw that Caitlyn up in the top lane, or or throw the Ryze up there too. That could also be kind of flex a little bit low. Ryze typically is in the mid lane nowadays, so the old days, the good old days of League of Legends with Ryze being the top lane, but Kennen gonna come out as the last pick, so that does provide the team with quite a bit of flexibility.
Yeah, that's actually going to be really cool because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be the on-hit Kennen build, which is pretty new this season. I don't think we've ever seen another season with that particular build for Kennen. Showed up in, I think, EUCS or EU LCS first week, and it's actually just been looking so good. So don't get a chance to see it that often, but it does work really well at shredding down tanks. So we'll have to see how effective that is for UTD. Going up against Duke, I kind of want to give Duke a slight advantage just because they have big name players that I've gotten a chance to see showcased in pretty much the last few seasons of CSL. And now that we're coming into the ULoL Campus Series, it's going to be cool to see what they can do against UT Dallas, a team that I'm just going to root for because I actually did go there. And so those players are treading the steps that I have trod before many times.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you and I were in college, we didn't really have any of these campus series. We didn't get to play or try and play these games professionally while we were in college. Like that just, a couple years too early, unfortunately for us. But hey, now we get to talk about these guys having these chances.
Hey, sounds good to me. I don't want to go too much into the back in my day kind of moments, but it's always good to see things progress in a way that is pretty cool for esports.
Yeah, absolutely. And esports absolutely has been progressing. And speaking of progressing, some of these brands have been really helping esports to grow, and some of them have been helping CSL to grow. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at some of those right now?
All right.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
All right, so of course, band gaming, huge help here at CSL. There's a lot of teams, and that means a lot of players that need to be coordinated. Band really helps out with that. Every Monday, I believe, the admins of the CSL hold an open office hours where anyone from within one of the CSL teams can hop onto Band and contact the admins for any questions or concerns they may have. Super helpful utility, really helps keep things organized and running smoothly here at CSL. So a big thank you to them for helping to their continued support of the Collegiate Star League.
Yeah, and it's not just Band Gaming. Of course, we're also sponsored by Twitch TV. That's where you guys are watching us right now. You can see us collaborating with Twitch quite a bit, not just in the past, but also hopefully in the future, from things like PAX East and West to other events that they help us out with. Definitely want to thank them for supporting us this season. And of course, make sure to show them some love on Twitch and Twitter. I guess it sounds weird to say that you can support Twitch by seeing them on Twitch, but they do have twitch.tv/Twitch where they do all of their community programs. So definitely check them out over there. And of course on Facebook and Twitter at Twitch. So big thanks to them for it.
And of course, speaking of, just while we have a couple more seconds here before we get into the game, with the Twitch, head on over to, you're obviously on twitch.tv/CStarLeague right now. Mm-hmm. Also, make sure you check out twitch.tv/CStarLeague2, which is the second channel. It's not a sub channel. It's not really I guess kind of a sister channel, but that there's more games happening over there at different times, different dates throughout the week. CS:GO, Vainglory when there's Vainglory events. It's a channel that I'm very familiar with because that's where I'm normally broadcasting.
Well, it's good to see that you've defected back over to our side for just a little bit here. And of course, I'm super happy to be casting with the tastiest of bacon as we get into our first game of this best of 3 series tonight. It's going to be Duke taking on UT Dallas. Duke, of course, in their blue colors, and of course, UT Dallas over in the red.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are just waiting for my client to stop misbehaving a bit, but as you can all see, we are on the loading screen, and well, hopefully my game didn't crash.
Yeah, sometimes if you check the bottom right hand corner, there should be a spinny circle. If there's not, then maybe you need to drop out and then reconnect. Either way,
I do have a spinny circle, but
okay. Well, I am already in here, so I'm just going to be describing the level 1. Spoiler alert, there's actually just nothing happening. Omega GJ was trying to get caught out there just a little bit, but instead used the age-old gank avoidance technique of walking back to his turret.
All right, well, I'm going to be trying to reconnect, so while this is happening, I'll let you continue to inform anyone of anything that's going on.
All right. Well, let's see. What was the college nearest your hometown, Tasty Bacon?
Of these two, I would probably be Duke, but
yeah,
neither of them are terribly close.
I was gonna say, like, these are not necessarily from your neck of the woods. I made it out. I think I've made it up to like the northern Midwest. I guess the actual middle West. I think maybe once before. But that is not somewhere that I go nowadays, especially not nowadays that I'm like 10,000 miles away or something. So
it's a little tough.
One day I'll get back up there. But to go ahead and just talk about the way that the game is circling around both junglers, starting on the bottom half of the map, working their way top lane, standard lanes across the board, and not all that much aggression just yet.
Yeah, not really expecting to have too much either. It's fairly passive laners, especially down here on bottom lane is where we might see the most action. But Rise, Cassiopeia, well, never mind. They're going to prove me wrong. Start duking it out.
Okay, that was actually really, really good opportunity taken there by Freelancer. He walked forward and then had a great angle. It landed an empowered overload after throwing the spell flux on. So really getting the big damage down early on there in the lane. Freelancer maybe with a slight lead there.
Yeah, comes out a little bit ahead. Freelancer is kind of the player to watch for UT Dallas. Has kind of really shown up for them in their first game. Was a heavy carry for this team.
All right, well, now we actually get a chance to check out the rest of the map. Whoa, bottom lane, gotta stay careful. GOP, I'm just gonna call him GOP instead of GOP. But walking forward, taking a little bit of damage, but of course, it's all about support trades. Rengar placing a cheeky little ward over there near Sunny Onage's Gromp camp.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, definitely an advantage red side on this bottom lane, as we can see. Just the farm numbers. If I can figure out where to pull those up on this new client. It's been a while since I've casted League of Legends.
Well, yeah, I think the biggest new thing for this new client is you hit the I button, and then it'll pop up everything you could ever want to see. But yeah, so it's all going to be down there towards the bottom. And as far as it goes to CS, you should see lanes be even for the most part. Poppy's going to drop down lower in CS because she gets bullied very heavily early on. And then Rengar is going to have an abnormally high CS because he does the Krugs, and those pop into tiny little Krugs, so it artificially inflates his CS number.
There we go. That looks a little bit better. But so yeah, like you were just saying, the artificial CS inflation definitely something you have to keep in mind while looking at these numbers. But either way, a little bit of a sizable lead for Rise in the mid lane thus far.
Omega GJ is playing very, very carefully up there towards his turret. He's at 100 HP, so he has got to be keeping safe and sound. Recalls back to base and is probably only going to be able to pick up a ruby crystal, so that is not the best buy that he would have wanted. Generally, you want to come back to lane with either, Doran's shield if you're really, really going to get harassed, and against this on-hit cannon, it's definitely not a bad idea. Or maybe even like some cloth armor, but that's only half as effective because Kennedy's going to be dealing a lot of magic damage. Either way, returns to lane full health, refills that corrupting potion, and has some extra health on top of it. So we'll have to see if that's effective enough because Lunarly on that cannon does have kind of a clock running on him. He does need to get the aggressive advantage, otherwise Poppy will just turn into the most super mega chocolatey tank you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, it's once you get to a certain point, that Poppy just almost impossible to take down. You have to really throw everything you have at her in order to get a kill. But for now, Kennen should have a decent advantage as he makes his first trip back, holds on to the teleport. Just going to be walking back up to lane instead.
Yeah, and of course, Kennen does have that luxury because he does have the Lightning Rush. I mean, Poppy does have some extra move speed there and the Steadfast Presence, but Lightning Rush is pretty well named, so it's going to get him back up to that lane. Bottom lane just trades after trades, very aggressive, but we're going to see the aggression down here in the upper river. Faith going to get jumped on, actually helped out a little bit as Omega GJ pushes him further away. Some extra move speed there for Cassiopeia, is going to try to get back in there. Faith actually playing that very aggressively. Lunarly actually coming down from the top lane, but not level 6, will not be able to get that big flash engage.
And meanwhile, down bottom, you got to look out. Malzahar just one shot away, narrowly going to get out to safety.
Yeah, it was like 45 health there, just almost going down. A couple more Voidling little tickles, and he would have gotten taken out there. So that is not where you want to be as Malzahar. He does recall back to base, but now we have to check out Faith in his own jungle. He actually can't finish the Krugs. He's going to try. Oh my gosh, and hits the last second auto attack to stay alive and be able to finish up that camp.
Yeah, very, very close. Always one of the worst things you could ever see is an ally has been slain, and then there wasn't a fight. It's just
You're like, literally, how did you do that? I feel like my teammates sometimes in solo queue are kind of like, when you pile up too many like maybe wet towels in your basement, you just leave them there, and then they catch on fire. It's called spontaneous combustion, and that just happens in solo queue sometimes. So as long as we keep that out of our competitive professional games, I think we'll be okay.
I mean, everyone does it at some point in their League of Legends career, but you typically want to avoid it in a competitive matchup. So, Freelancer, again, getting a very large CS lead now over his opponent, 66 to 46. That's a pretty massive advantage that Rise has built up.
Yeah, indeed, Tasty Bacon, your mathematical skills are impeccable as always. Able to tell that one number is in fact bigger than the other. That's all I do when I cast. I'm just like, hey, that number's pretty big. That must mean a good thing, right? Unless it's deaths, so you got to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
But either way, top lane might be getting pressured here. Omega GJ pushed deep underneath his turret. Rengar got his eyes set on the blue buff instead.
Yeah, and I mean, looking across the board, really, there's CS advantages for everyone on UT Dallas, with the exception of that bottom lane where it's very, very close. But so you got to be really feeling good if you're the side of UT Dallas thus far, and we kind of had them pegged as the underdog here.
Yeah, that is actually true, Tasty Bacon. I'm glad you brought that up because it's not about who comes in as the favorite to these games. We have seen some very dominant performances from some of our favorite teams or teams that have traditionally done well in CSL seasons or ULoL Campus series, but it's all about how you play on that given day, and it certainly seems that at least for now. It's a lot more even than I would have necessarily expected, even with about a 1,000 gold lead in UTD's favor. More so than that, they've got big CS advantages starting to form there in the mid lane and especially top lane, where Kennan's gotten a little bit greedy and gone for that cull.
Yeah, and I mean, he picked up that cull on the first recall, so was feeling confident just from the get-go. And after having a little bit more here, it still has 65 stacks on it. It's going to take a while before he is able to finish it off and really get the payoff, but should actually be able to pull it off because he has been doing rather well.
That's true, and he's not really under any pressure in that lane.
Exactly.
So all he has to do is hit perfect CS, and he should be pretty okay to snowball that into a pretty decent advantage, hit that big power spike, and really start to put pressure on Omega GJ's Poppy.
And you just got to be reminded of those Krugs. I saw there's a massive discrepancy in the CS between the junglers, but we did see Sunny Onage go and take those Krugs, and now all of a sudden it's very even. So, like you said, very misleading to look down at the jungler CS at certain times throughout the game.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that works. Like, the Krugs just, like, spontaneously have baby Krugs all of a sudden when they die. Maybe it's a death rattle. I don't know how that works necessarily. Mixing up my games. But now we gotta, keep an eye on this bottom half of the map. That's a Rengar ult being used, but no chance at initiating. Would have had to dive pretty deep under that turret into a Malzahar, which is usually not where you want to go.
Yep, and now Lunarly going back to base, getting himself that, I just drew a complete blank on the name of that, so I'm going to cheat. Bilgewater Cutlass.
Bilgewater Cutlass? Yeah.
I knew the name of it, and I was going to be really proud of myself for remembering it after all this time, but...
Oh, boy. We got Realm Warp and a Teleport coming down here, so these guys are just not going to make it out. Sorry. It was worth a shot, but that's about all she wrote there. 5 people in the bottom lane. Yeah, that's not going to be fun to be a part of.
No, not at all. Very nice attempt to try and at least get one kill out of that. Hello, Jenny was taken down very low, but unable to get the return kill. This does at least give Jeffacake a little bit of time on that mid lane turret, but you can see now UT Dallas, they're going to go right for this dragon.
Right for it, they will go, and that's going to be a Mountain Drake. So actually a fairly impactful dragon to pick up early on. Now, mid lane, perfect turnaround timing. Freelancer. Void's getting stunned there by the Petrifying Gaze, stays alive, doesn't get picked off, and gets to reap the benefits of his team getting that dragon. Oh man, Sunny Onage gonna be forced to jump away, but can't escape that rune prism. Gets locked down and winds up giving Faith his first kill of the game.
Yeah, the numbers game, just going the favor of UT Dallas. Nice movement throughout the jungle there, and rotating on over by Freelancer in order to get a kill for his jungler.
Yeah, and keep in mind for Rengar, the way that his mechanics work nowadays, whoa, big damage there from Freelancer in the mid lane. But the way Rengar works nowadays is that his Bone Tooth Necklace stacks off per kill and assist on unique champions. So the more champions he kills, or the more unique champions he kills, the stronger and stronger he gets. And you really don't want to get that snowball rolling early, because then Rengar just has 200 AD by 15 minutes. Okay, well, now we just get to huddle together for warmth.
Yeah, huddle together for warmth and just hope that he doesn't come hunting for us. But right now, UT Dallas definitely looking strong as we get up to almost 13 minutes. 3-0 for the kills, but a little bit over 3,000 gold lead going their way. Now they're going to start invading this jungle, stealing away these camps, see if they can get this red buff. It's going to be spotted, obviously. Are they going to try and answer? Nope.
Okay, well, it was actually pretty close there for a second. I thought they were going to maybe try to go over the wall.
I think Varus stole it. Varus has a red buff, and he didn't kill anyone to take it.
Are you kidding me? All right, well, now we get a chance to watch the mid lane action. Perfect cleanse timing. Oh, my goodness. Is Jeffa going to do it? Okay, no. It was close there for a second. But no, he's not going to do it. And in fact, the mid lane kill is going to go down to Lunarly. So that was actually really good. Even though Varus did manage to grab that red buff, it does appear as if they are going to... Oh my god, what? That doesn't work that way. How does... How did you do it? The Realm Warp only gets canceled if Rise gets CC'd. It sucks Faith out of his impending doom, saves his life, and gets him out of that nether grasp. Oh my goodness.
That was absolutely beautiful from UT Dallas. I'm almost speechless. I mean, that was...
We got to get our little golf claps going on, man. I'm just saying, that was super sick. So shout outs to Freelancer for a very unique interaction, saving his jungler, keeping him from getting too suppressed.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly wasn't sure if it was even going to break the suppression. Like, a lot of times when you see abilities interact like that, like the champion will move, but will still be under the effect of the suppression or the lockdown, but it just completely broke them out of everything and kept their kill streak clean.
Yeah, I was actually expecting, like you said, the nether grasp to stretch super far all the way to where he was going. It just still last. Still probably would have saved his life, but either way, it's actually pretty impressive to watch.
Yeah, well, now Freelancer and Faith gonna have pretty big advantages in terms of their gold. Especially, I'm actually kind of surprised that this CS lead hasn't skyrocketed from where it was a few minutes ago for Freelancer, because they have been able to really put a ton of pressure down on this mid lane.
Yeah, that's actually very true, Tasty Bacon. With all that pressure that's been there, oh man, top lane. Sorry, gotta talk about this a little bit. Faith and Hello Jenny, they're both coming up from behind the turret. Exhaust, ults, Freelancers there too. It's a party in the top lane. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, it looks like Duke are gonna try to counter.
Yeah, they're gonna at least try and trade these turrets out. They should be able to do so, but getting a second turret now for the side of UT Dallas, trading it out for just their mid lane turret, which, I mean, mid is obviously very important, but UT Dallas should be able to take the mid turret of Duke with their own push right here. So everything coming up in favor of UT Dallas, although Lunarly needs to be careful.
Yeah, the wheels on the bus do go round and round, and so do the rotations in League of Legends. Really cool to see. The guys from UTD going top lane, taking a turret, mid lane, take another turret. Tons of wards. Look at that. It's like there's little trails of breadcrumbs. You can see wherever they have gone.
And all three outer turrets now destroyed in favor of UT Dallas. So, I mean, this is just... They've kind of had the lead from the get-go and haven't really looked to give it up whatsoever. Their movements have been just a little bit cleaner They've been the ones initiating these massive ganks, constantly sending 4, 5 people to a side lane in order to get a kill and push in those turrets. It's looked so clean.
Yeah, really just not a whole lot of holes in their strategies so far. Whenever I see teams like this, collegiate games can kind of be a little bit all over the place when it comes to strategy, execution. You can see a million kills in just half a million minutes. That's 2 kills a minute. If you guys want to do the math there, it's a lot, by the way. And that's not quite what we have here. This is more of just a tiny little advantage given to a patient team who are able to really put it to work for themselves, just investing early and then being able to keep things going their way. So bottom lane, where we are gathered up here, not sure if there's going to be too much done. Oh, okay, Sunny Onage, that's not where you wanted to jump.
No, it absolutely was not. Faith is going to find another kill. Will get suppressed by GOP, but now it's going to be UT Dallas just turning it back around.
Oh, and that summoner heal almost saving his life there. Jeffa K coming in, and that's, whoa, going to give him a couple of kills. Actually, the second one going to Kimura Yuki, but still, hey, got to give him some credit. Not a flawlessly executed fight, and it's going to be a 2 for 2 overall.
A 2 for 2 overall, but it was a 4 versus 5 because Lunarly just sat up in this top lane and is going to take out this turret. So I just gotta give the trade to UT Dallas, even if Lunarly doesn't get out of here, which he's should be able to at least. Yeah, there we go. That's still 2 for 2 trade, but UT Dallas gets a turret and a Drake. So huge advantage still picked up by UT Dallas.
Yeah, really great point there, Tasty Bacon. It's not about who wins the fight, it's about what you do with that. I mean, I've seen teams win, with half the number of kills as their opponents because they're just so much smarter. So really cool to see the objective-based gameplay, not just content to win or trade these fights, but going to get a couple of really cool objectives off the back of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, just before it goes away, the Rift Herald going to be started up by UT Dallas as well.
Wow, so they're actually going to go for this. This is sort of like the bonus objective. It's like, hey, we're so far ahead at this point that we can take this objective, which is not necessarily necessary, but it's actually really cool to see them take it so late. So at the 19-minute mark, it's going to be lasting much, much longer through the game than if it were taken super early on. So that's going to be a big source of strength for Lunarly, who's going to be going up against this Poppy, who, I mean, it hasn't been shut down totally, but it's just not really going to be able to get off the ground with that much pressure. And if you look at the on-hit build that Kennan's going for, it's going to be a lot to deal with.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a ton of AoE damage coming out of the Kennen, especially with that Runen's Hurricane. Once he jumps into a fight, just throws down the Slicing Maelstrom and it's going to just ruin people's days on the side of Duke. It's so frustrating to deal with a Kennen that gets extremely far ahead like this.
Oh, sorry, you caught me in the middle of a cough. I'm a little bit under the weather, so if my voice sounds unnaturally deep, like I expected yours to be, well, that's a little bit why. I'm trying to, not yell at the top of my lungs today, and hopefully we'll be back to 100% for next week. But still good to be here, and it's still exciting to see teams like this. Actually really surprised by seeing so many, very powerful champions, things like the Malzahar and, whoa, Sunny Onage going forward, big Stranglethorns, and he's actually going to go way deep in there. Is going to get taken out there, but Faith might have gone a little bit too far. He is going to be forced to flash backwards, turns around for another kill, and escapes just barely with his life.
Freelancer is going to go down, but here comes Bingo, going to be cleaning things up. What a team fight. Lunarly also joining the fray a bit late. 1-4-5 in favor of UT Dallas Rapid, and now they're going to go ahead and grab themselves a Baron.
Man, can't think of a better name for this Rengar. I mean, you have to have faith to believe that you're going to make it out of situations like that alive, and even going for this Baron took a little bit of faith there because they were very low HP afterwards, but oh my god, that survival by Faith is just insane. I did not expect that, but very, very well executed. You can really tell the difference between a good jungler who can play any champion or a player who is good as a jungler at one champion. For Faith, it's Rengar really showing off.
Absolutely, and everyone on UT Dallas really showing up here today. Lunarly, especially also on this top laner, Kennen, having a great game, 4-0-3. And you had kind of touched on a little bit earlier with the collegiate scene. You never really know what you're going to get. And with this being my... Well, actually, hold on, because, well, there's not really much to say there. That was just Lunarly absolutely destroying Kumori Yuki.
Yeah, how do you do play-by-play on that? It's like, oh, and he's out of there. All right, well, here comes Rengar again. We'll see if he can get anything done. Faith's trying to look for something, but looks like that's mostly just going to be a scouting Rengar ult.
And Caitlyn putting down the offensive line of traps. You normally see that underneath a destroyed, or next to a destroyed turret, or underneath their own turret. Not often you see the scout trap, the trap line underneath your opponent's turret like this.
Yeah, it just makes it so difficult to stay there, stand up to your opponent. And now with excellent split push going down here, you can see Faith just waiting between mid lane and bottom lane, trying to find a good opportunity to engage, to catch anybody out of position. And Lunarly's Kennen, just kind of the epitome of slow and steady wins the race. He's just been content to stay in his lane, poke it out, farm it out, and he's gotten himself into the best scoreline in the game right now, 5-0-3.
And, well, this should just be a matter of time for UT Dallas to siege down this mid turret. There it goes. They can push in onto the inhibitor as well, as Duke has to back away from this. Their health just a little bit too low in order to stay. So, inhib down, 23 minutes in. Bottom lane, Lunarly has just been steadily working on that turret. This could be a game-ending push right here.
Oh, swing and a miss there on that Varus ult, but Sunny Onage at least going to go in. Big knockups coming out, though, thanks to the Stranglethorns, and Freelancer coming in to help close things down. A hugely dominating fight here for UT Dallas as they trade 1 for 3, and more importantly, take out not 1 but 2 inhibitors. Faith, once again, oh my gosh, that's going to be tickling him in the morning. A big snipe there from the piercing arrow. Varus claiming a kill and actually elongating this game by just a little bit, not allowing UTD to close out just yet.
This has thus far been all UT Dallas. I mean, it should just be a matter of time before they're able to actually finish this game off. I don't really see many windows of opportunity for Duke to get back in. UT Dallas getting right back to that Drake pit just in time for the spawn, so they're going to clean that up. And, I mean, really the only way UT Dallas loses this game is if they make massive, crucial mistakes and give Duke the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tasty Bacon. I mean, I'm sure we've all played games like this in whatever game you play, where you're like, all right, guys, we're crushing. We get really far ahead. And then, maybe, one person has a difference in opinion. One, player just wants to split push. And you kind of like, maybe if I have one uncoordinated fight, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, where'd our advantage go? You gotta stay careful. So it's not about how you start the game. It's about how you finish it. At least currently, it appears as if UT Dallas are, kind of taking their time with finishing this game.
Yeah, they're going to be having Kennen make sure all these waves are pushed in. The rest of the team going to go top lane and break down, or at least try to break down that final turret in the, or between them and an open base. And this should be, unless Duke makes some massive play and like goes and pops Kennen like right now, this should be a strategy that will work for UT Dallas to finish off this game.
Yeah, absolutely, Tasty Bacon. Whoa, Faith getting a little bit far forward. Thankfully, that Battle Roar Empowered actually does keep you pretty safe there. But here we go. Offensive line of traps laid up at the front of that tower. It is just not going to last very much longer. There comes a big engage from Lunarly's Kennen right on top of Jeffcake. Turns around, tries to micro backwards, but it's actually going to be Omega GJ trying to flash that out of there. Won't be able to make it out of there in time. And it is a godlike performance by Lunarly's Kennen. Oh, maybe even more to follow. And there it is, teleporting all the minions onto the fountain and taking out the Nexus. 26-minute victory for University Texas at Dallas.
Yeah, absolutely commanding performance from this team. all across the board from top to bottom. 708 on the Kennen, obviously extremely impressive, stands out the most, but that wouldn't have happened without the phenomenal play from Faith and Freelancer, and then of course Bingo and Hello Jenny just kind of steadily staying just ahead of their opponents in the bottom lane, and by the time the late game rolled around, the team had enough of an advantage that they were just able to close it out very cleanly.
Well, that is going to do it for our first game, but it is a best of 3. So if you guys are big fans of Duke, if you're going there, then maybe tweet at the players your appreciation or just share some of the love in chat because they're going to need some extra help to come back here in game number 2. So we're going to head out to a quick commercial break. When we come back, it'll be our second game of this series between Duke and University of Texas at Dallas.